At Deer Lodge in Montana Territory, I met a very unusual young lady. Her Chinese name was Chen Shuk Yi, which in English means gentle virtue. This is her story.
Frontier Gentleman. Herewith an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. In just 1 minute, we will bring you this latest report from the Frontier Gentleman.
Hey, what do you think of my new swept wing 58 Dodge, Ernie? Ain't she a beaut?
Boy, that's really a big car.
Big? I'll say she's big. I'll stay here by the grill and you go take a look at those swept wing fins at the rear.
Okay. This is the longest, lowest car I ever saw.
Come on back by the door. I'll show you the inside.
Okay.
Now look inside.
Wow, this Dodge is big inside.
Look how wide the seats are.
Who are those people in here?
The neighbors. I'm charging them $1 an hour to sit there. Come on.
Wow, you really got a lot of car here.
And with all this, Dodge is priced below 59 different models at the low price field. Hey, you want to go for a ride?
Let me sit down a minute. I'm exhausted.
Now, starring John Daner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
In Montana Territory, there is a mining town which has been known variously as Cottonwood, Spanish Forks, and LaBarge. Now it is simply called Deer Lodge. I had stopped there on my way back to Fort Benton, and it was in Deer Lodge that I was for the first time introduced to the card game of poker. It all began innocently enough after I struck up a friendship with Billy Moore, a prospector whose claim lay a few miles from town.
You might call me kind of a cross between a river sniper and a desert rat. River sniper's what I am here, gold panning like this. Of course, my diggings is back there on the hill, but I ain't hit nothing much yet. Stream's not bad, though. Keeps me going.
It's a lonely job, I imagine.
Sometimes.
You ever think of settling down? Getting married?
Sure. Sure, when I strike it big, I may do that. Meantime, there's Deer Lodge close by. Don't get time to be lonesome there.
I haven't noticed you're much of a drinking man.
Oh, I ain't. But there's always a card game. Faro, three-card Monte, poker. Poker's my game. Nothing I like more than a night or two of poker.
Do you win?
Not much. Stay about even, mostly. How about you?
Never played the game in my life.
You never played poker?
No.
Well, boy, we sure got to do something about that.
You think it's absolutely necessary?
Well, Mr. Kendall, how are you going to write about how people live in these parts if you ain't never played poker?
Oh, well, I never quite thought of it in that way.
Well, it's a fact. I'll tell you what. This afternoon, I'll show you how to play. There's nothing to it. And then tonight, we'll go into town. There's always a real friendly game at Dead Broke Bar.
That evening, we rode back into Deer Lodge. Billy had pronounced me an able student, and that with caution, I might even add $1 or $2 to my diminishing funds. I had promised to limit myself to play with $50 and no more. When we arrived at the bar, Billy led me to a table in the back room. 2 men were there. One, a meek-looking fellow whose expression was one of constant hurt surprise. The other was a lanky, dark-faced chap. Billy introduced us.
This here's J.B. Kendall, boys. Turkey Johnson and Neil Deggers.
How do you do, gentlemen?
Kendall's a newspaper fella from England, writes for the London Times, out here looking this over. Give us some chips, Turkey.
How's it going, Billy? Any pay dirt?
Oh, about the same. I ain't complaining. What about you?
I'm going to give it another week, then I'm pulling up stakes.
You, Turkey?
Look, you want to play or talk?
Turkey ain't in the mining business right now, Kendall.
Oh, I
He's
see.
trying to get a stake play in poker. The trouble is he keeps on losing. You feel lucky tonight, Turkey?
And one of these days you're going to get lead poison if you don't shut your mouth.
Nice friendly cuss, ain't he? Them blue chips is worth $5, Kendall. The red's 2, the white's 1.
My card deals. King, Jack, 8, 4. Your deal, Kendall.
Oh, yes.
Roll the cards, boy.
5?
5.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
Something the matter?
In these parts, we cut the cards, mister.
He's kind of
Oh,
glum,
I'm
Turkey. He don't mean
terribly
no
sorry.
harm. I'll cut him. Roll him around, kid.
Never did cut me playing with a greenhorn.
Sorry.
Oh, just deal, mister.
Five.
Open, dollar.
Call.
Raise the dollar.
No, thank you.
Not for me, neither.
I got a feeling you're telling a windy, Turkey. I'll see you. Give me 3 cards, Kendall.
I'll take 2.
Billy won the first hand and the second. I played very carefully, and at the end of an hour was about $5 to the good. I could see that Turkey Johnson resented both me and my playing, even more so because he was losing. His temper slowly deteriorated with the quality of his cards. Then the door opened, and a small, pigtailed Chinese gentleman walked in. He had an ageless face, impassive.
Oh, I never
Hey,
seen
you.
such cards.
Oh, it'll change.
I didn't think you'd be coming tonight. Light and rest your saddle. This is J.B. Kendall. He's from England.
Mr. Kendall, I am honored.
Is it Mr. Yu?
Yes.
How do you do, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Deggers, Mr.
evening.
Johnson.
All right, come on. Come on, Moore, it's your deal.
I know it.
Well, deal.
Chips, please, Mr. Johnson. $50.
You keeps a string of burros, sells them or rents them. Orneriest critters you ever see.
Oh, very intelligent. Very noble animals.
How's that pretty girl of yours, you? Ain't seen her around.
He keeps her hid from the likes of us, huh? You ought to see her, Kendall. Real nice little filly.
Is your daughter, Mr. Yu?
Oh, no, daughter, no. She's girl from Hong Kong. She helps me with business.
Talk. It's your play, Kendall.
I'll open for $1. Mr. Yu proved to be an astute but unlucky player, and Johnson began to win. For the next 2 hours, the game seesawed back and forth, and after that, it became obvious that unless there was a startling change, the big winner would be Johnson. The loser, Mr. Yu. Billy, Neil Deggers, and myself were about even. Then an extraordinary thing happened. I found myself at the end of a draw, sitting with 3 aces and 2 queens. The betting was up to Neil Deggers. At that time, there was $50 on the table.
2.
No, I'm folding.
2, and I raise 3.
Yeah. Hey, this is a big one, huh? All right, boys. I'm calling and raising 5 of my own.
You take it easy, Kendall.
Shut your mouth, Moore. Ain't no side playing this game.
Now, don't get riled,
I ain't
Turkey.
riled, just keep your mouth shut.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. Just give me a moment. Very well. I'll call. $10.
Kendall, you know it's going to be a pleasure to make you holler calf rope. Ain't going to be no beginner's luck in this game.
Your play, Mr. Yu.
And 25.
Sure am glad I'm out of this one.
You're 25 and up 25.
Kendall, you better get out.
Son of a gun, I'm saying for the last time more, you shut your mouth.
Now listen, Turkey, he's a friend of mine.
Mr. Johnson's, he's quite right, Billy. I'd like to buy some more chips, please. 100.
Well, what you play, mister?
It'll cost you 50. You better not...
50.
Man, you ain't gonna have enough left to dust your fiddle.
50 and raise 50.
What? There's near 300 in there.
Yeah, so there is.
I got the deadwood on you boys, but you keep her getting fat. I ain't grumbling. You're 50, you, and my 50.
That's another 100, Kendall.
Yes. I see. All right. I call.
Mr. Turkey, there is $500. I am now without money. Still, I wish to call you back.
Oh, that's too bad. Maybe you can get a loan, huh?
I no take a loan.
Well, what do you say, you? You in or out? Oh, how about them burrs? You want to stake them, huh?
No, not burros. But maybe chain shoki?
Now, ain't that something? You kidding?
The girl should be worth another 100.
I seen her, Turkey. She's a looker.
If you lose, can you guarantee I'll get her?
I guarantee.
Well, how can you do that, Mr. Yu?
She belongs me. I paid her half a cent from China. You wait, please. I put cards down. Nobody touch.
What you got, Turkey?
Had's gonna make old you happy as a duck in Arizona. What's the matter, Kendall? Is game too rich for you, huh?
No, not at all. I find it very interesting.
Well, boys, my luck has turned. Yeah, I'm gonna get me a grub steak with the winnings and have me a real nice score to take care of grub slinging and like.
Say, how about me and you go and pardon this?
Yeah, might do that, Diggers. Yeah, might at that.
At that moment, the door opened, and Mr. Yu came in, followed by the girl, Chen Shuk Yi. She must have been in her early 20s, and she was quite beautiful. She didn't look at any of us, but moved behind Mr. Yu's chair, staring black-eyed, expressionless.
You tell her what happens if you lose?
She has been told.
You betting her?
Yes, I call you bet with Shuk Yi.
All right. What do you got?
Flush. Hearts.
I had you figured. Too bad. Yeah, kings and tenors full.
Just a moment, Mr. Johnson.
Aces and ladies full.
Son of a gun.
You have won, Mr. Kendall. The money and the girl are yours. Most honored to meet you, Mr. Kendall. Shuk Yi's belongings are at my house. Do you wish her to bring them now?
Well,
I understand it is a matter of delicacy. You live at the hotel, Mr. Kendall?
No, I'm staying with Billy Moore.
Her belongings will be brought tomorrow. Most happy gentleman. Good night.
I'll cash these in if you don't mind, Mr. Johnson. $565.
That was pretty smart, Moore. Pulling in a grifter to clean us out.
Oh, now just a minute, Turkey.
Are you suggesting by any chance that I'm a cheat, Mr. Johnson?
Well, I'm saying there was more than luck in your deal.
You're saying I cheated?
Here's your money. Come on, Diggers.
Never thought I'd see it. Turkey Johnson backing down. You sure got his number, Kendall. Say, what about her?
I've been wondering. Shuk Yi?
Yes, master?
No, not master. I'm Kendall.
Kendall.
I think you'd better go back to Mr. Yu's house now.
Oh, no. Me belong Kendall now. Mr. Yu. Not take Shuk Yi back. I not go back.
It ain't gonna do no good, Kendall. He wouldn't have her back. Old Hugh's got a lot of pride. He lost her fair and square. She's yours.
But I can't. What the devil am I going to do with her?
Well, now.
A good cook. Men clothes. Very good.
You're good enough for me, girl.
Billy, we'll have to put her up in your shack until I can think of what to do with her.
Well, that's fine with me, Kendall. That's just fine.
You and I will sleep outside.
Well, now, hold on, boy. I don't mind giving up my bunk. I can sleep on the floor, but there ain't no sense in freezing to death, maybe getting the rheumatics or the heaves.
Well, perhaps she could stay at the hotel. I'd get her a room.
There ain't room for a skinny tick in there this time of night.
All right, then it's got to be your place. Come on.
Kind of nice night, ain't it, Kendall?
Yes.
Stars sure do look pretty.
You comfortable, Shuki?
Very comfortable. Very nice. Thank you, Kendall.
How long have you been over here?
4 years.
What made you come?
I was slave girl. Mr. You sent to buy me. I come.
Oh,
I like you better. I be good slave to you.
no. A slave is not a good thing, Shuki. No one should be slave. In this country, no slaves. You understand?
No. If I no slave, what I do?
Well, what did you do in China?
Slave. Very rich gentleman. Lots of slave. But he get dry gulch by other rich gentlemen. Then I his slave. Then second rich gentleman sell me to Mr. Yu. He sell many slaves come to America. Now I you slave.
No, I don't want a slave.
Then why you buy me?
I didn't. I won you in the poker game.
If you lost, you would have paid money?
Yes.
Then you see, it's same. I am glad I not be won by that no good son of gun, Turkey Johnson.
She sure got him pegged.
You shouldn't say that, Shuki. Bad words.
I hear many people say so. I no like the way he look at me, son of gun.
Here, Shuki, I'll help you.
I'll get the horses fed and watered. You want to show her where to sleep?
All right.
This your house?
No, it's Billy's.
Oh, he very rich man. Mr. You not have wood floor.
You'll sleep here on this bunk, Shuki.
Where you sleep?
Outside with Billy.
I sleep on floor. You sleep on bunk.
No. I'm going out to help Billy now. You go to bed.
If the master wills it.
I will it. Good night. Billy.
Yeah? She bedded down?
On the way. Look, this is nothing to laugh at, Billy. What am I going to do with her?
She's your slave. You figure it out.
I mean it. I can't go traveling about with her.
I wouldn't mind it.
Billy, it's serious. You think if I have a talk with Mr. Yu...
I told you, it's no good.
You boys stand right there and don't turn around or I'll blow your innards out.
Turkey Johnson.
Take the guns off of them.
Sure, Turkey, sure.
All right. Now you got my money, Kendall. You throw it behind you real easy like. All right, pick it up, Daggers. Now you go and fetch your gal out.
Sure, Turkey.
I'd advise you to keep your hands off her, Johnson.
Get going, Daggers. You ain't advising nothing, Kendall.
I'm going to get you, Turkey. You'll stretch him for this.
Why, you got me scared plumb to death.
Hey, Turkey! She ain't here.
What do you mean she ain't there?
You must have heard us from going out through the window.
Well, find her.
What? Dark.
All right. Forget the gal. Let's tail out of here. So long, boys. Thanks for the grub steak.
I'm going to get the
Wait
horse.
a minute. No, there's no sense without a gun.
Should have known. And low down,
Shook ye?
no...
Shook Yi, it's Kendall. They've gone. Where are you?
I come, master.
You got another gun, Billy?
Yeah, in the shack. A rifle and a Colt.
I heard voice of son of gun, Turkey Johnson. I go out window.
Yeah, very sensible. You stay here with Shook Yi, Billy. I'm going after them.
Well, I'll come too.
No, you better stay in case they double back. Lock yourselves in.
Sure I will, Kendall, sure. Don't you worry about a thing.
left Billy the rifle, took the colt, and rode after Johnson and Deggers. I hoped they'd make for Deer Lodge, which is exactly what they did do. I found them in the least likely, but I suppose most likely place for a man like Johnson, the Dead Broke Bar. They were celebrating, standing drinks to everybody in the place.
Yeah, set him up again. Woo! I'm a curly wolf, and it's my night to hide.
Hey, Turkey. Turkey.
Oh, don't bother me, boy.
Yeah, but...
Turn around, Mr. Johnson.
Well, if it ain't Lord Kendall. What do you say, Your Honor? All right, come on, have a drink.
Not with my own money, thanks. Hand it over like a good fellow.
Are you loco, mister? Your money? I cleaned you out. Ain't that right, Deggers?
Sure, sure. Dead right, Turkey.
An unfortunate choice of words. I say you're dead wrong. But either way, unless you give it back, you'll most certainly be dead.
I'm getting out of here.
Here, me too.
Let's
go.
Out of my way!
You want to draw first?
No shooting in the bar, boys. You take it outside.
Well, you want to...
Draw first? I have.
Hey, I was only kidding.
I'm not. Throw your gun belt on the bar. You too, Deggers. Now, Johnson, I have taken a great dislike to your face. Hold this for me, will you, barkeep?
Get him, Deggers! Yes! Get up! Hit it!
Billy, it's me, Kendall. Here's your guns.
Oh.
Hello, Shooky.
Hello.
Well, what's the matter?
Kendall, I hope you don't take this wrong, but I'd kind of like to buy Shooky from you.
What?
You see, me and her, we had a little talk while you was gone, and she takes to me, sort of, and I thought maybe if I married her...
He's a strange man, Kendall. You sell me to him. He wants to marry.
Well, do you want to marry him?
I like.
The next morning, I was best man at their wedding, and Mr. Yu gave Shooky away. After the breakfast, which took place at the Dead Broke Bar, I started off for Fort Benton, where I planned to take the river steamer down the Missouri to write my reports of another part of the West.
Frontier Gentleman was written, produced, and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Daner as J.B. Kendall. Featured in the cast were Virginia Gregg, Vic Perrin, Jack Crucian, Ben Wright, and Charlie Lung. Music was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Join us again next week for another report from the Frontier Gentleman. John Wall speaking. This is the CBS Radio Network.
There seem to be only two kinds of people in Montana Territory, the good and the bad. Sometimes it's hard to tell which is which.
Frontier Gentleman. Herewith an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. Now, starring John Dehner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
I was on my way back to Fort Benton on the Missouri River when I reached Helena. There, I was lucky enough to receive an offer of transportation in a wagon. So I sold my horse and we set out on the Mullen Road. My companion, or bullwhacker as he called himself, was a leathery, stringy chap who might have been 50 or 70. It was hard to tell. His name was George Scales, and he seemed more than happy to have someone to talk to.
Yes, sir. I was one of the first out to the California gold rush. Went out with my father in '49. Now, how old do you figure I am, boy?
Well,
58. 58. Wouldn't think it, would you?
Well,
58. Never had a sick day in my life. Been married 3 times, buried 2. The third got took by Apaches down in Arizona territory. I pitied the poor son of a gun Indian that hooked up with her. Boy, she was the meanest piece of calico you ever set eyes on. It was a lucky day for me. Are you married?
No,
You take my advice, boy. What'd you say your name was?
Kendall.
Kendall. You ain't kin to the Brown County, Texas Kendalls, are you?
No.
Well, come to think of it, their name wasn't Kendall, it was Pridgeon. Now, how come you figure I misremembered that? What was we talking about?
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Well, now, you take my father. 86 years old 2 weeks back. I'm taking him home to bury him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, anything for sorrow. All got to go up Salt River sometime. Old Buzzard's been out in California better than 30 years. That ain't no place for a man to sack his saddle, so last trip out I said, Pa, I got to take you back to Kentucky, because when you bite the dust, it ain't fit to do it in this here place. That's what I said.
I see.
Well, we got us a place in Kentucky. Figure he ought to rest comfortable there.
Oh, did he die on the way from California?
If he did, it's since you got on back in Helena. No, the old buzzard ain't dead yet. He's asleep in the wagon.
Oh.
Eats and sleeps. Ain't much else to do, I guess. Old buzzard, deaf as a post. When he wakes up, you just say hello, smile at him, and he'll think that's just fine, just fine. Oh, you want a chaw?
No, thank you.
You don't talk much, do you?
No, I suppose not.
What's your business?
I'm a newspaper correspondent.
Writer?
Yes.
Newspaper feller, huh?
Yes, that's right.
Oh. Had me a run-in with one of your kind back in '62, maybe 63. I was a mule skinner with Major McCleve down in Apache country. You ever been down there?
No.
Mean, purely mean country. Ain't fitting for nothing.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, the old buzzard woke up. Everything's fine, Pa.
I'm hungry.
Oh, you ain't never nothing but, Pa. Got a way to go yet, Pa. Hey, this here's Mr. Kendall. He got on in Helena.
How do you do, Mr. Scales?
Don't matter what you say, just talking loud.
Yeah. I understand you're going back to Kentucky. What is he saying?
There's no telling. You go on back to sleep, you old buzzard. I'll tell you when it's time to eat. He's gonna do it. Guess he didn't like you.
Oh?
Pa meets a stranger, he'll talk your ear off. Talkingest man I ever seen. If he don't take to you, he does what I tell him. Like as not, he'll keep his mouth shut now till you get off in Benton.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no cause, Mister. Man can't help what he is. I just hope you ain't like that sheep-killing dog of a newspaper feller I was telling you about. I sure did sharpen my hoe on him.
Well, whatever he did, I assure you, I'll be very careful not to make the same mistake.
Newspaper feller.
At midday, we stopped for our meal. Scales, Senior and Junior, kept up an extraordinary conversation, during which time I was completely ignored. The pair reminded me a little of Dickensian characters, a certain gentleman and his aged parent. After his food, the aged parent clambered back into the wagon and presumably went back to sleep as we continued on our way. An offering of tobacco mellowed Scales somewhat, and I felt that possibly I might be forgiven for my sin by association. It was late that afternoon when we saw the three riders. They were halted by the side of the road.
If you know how to use that gun of yours, Kendall, you better be ready to reach.
You think they're outlaws?
Man's bone seasoned. He don't take chances, not in these parts.
Looks as though one of them is hurt.
Well, that's a fact, and, well, I'll be a whey-belly stump sucker. A woman. One's a woman. Look at that. If that don't beat all. Whoa! Whoa there! Whoa! Hey! Hey, you got trouble?
Haven't got any medicines, have you?
No, got some whiskey.
It's my husband. He's hurt kind of
Well,
bad.
it ain't nothing, I tell you, Dora. Just let me rest a while. We'll get on.
You ain't gonna make it, Bill.
Shut up. Mister, I'll buy your whiskey. That'll fix me.
No such thing. It isn't whiskey you need. Either of you gents know about doctrine?
No, ma'am.
Well, I know a little, not much.
Let him take a look, Bill. Jack, here, come on. Give me a hand down.
You know, Kendall, I got a feeling I know that feller. I seen him, but I ain't sure where.
Why don't you bring the whiskey out, Mr. Scales? He looks as if he can use it.
All right.
Here, get your jacket off,
Easy,
Bill.
woman. Now take it easy.
Oh, man, that sure looks wicked.
You better sit down. There's the rock over there.
Yeah.
Come along. When did it happen?
3 days ago.
Did you get the bullet out?
No.
I'm all right, I tell you. Just let me rest.
You're not all right. That's gangrene, the shoulder and arm. There's a doctor in Helena. It won't take you more than 3 hours to get there.
We ain't going to Helena, mister. We're going to Fort Benton.
But that's over 100 miles. You've already got a fever. If I were you, I'd
You
just...
ain't me.
Oh, Bill, he's right. Now, please, let's go back.
No.
I think I could remove the bullet, but that won't help.
You ain't no doctor. Hey, pour some of this panther juice in your gizzard. Cure everything from the rattles to... No. Ain't gonna cure that.
Give me the bottle. Take a good big slug, Bill.
Hey, don't I know him someplace?
Not likely to, mister.
I ain't never forgot a face. I swear I seen his. Mind if I ask your name? I'm obliged for your whiskey. Now, we'll be moving on.
Oh, Bill, what good is it going to be? You're sick. You can't ride all that way. I do like he says.
Dora,
Let's
you
go.
heard what I said. Come on. Now.
Oh, Bill.
He'd fainted. We carried him to the wagon, put him inside. The aged parent woke up, smiled pleasantly at the newcomers, and watched with interest as the wife and the one called Jack did what they could to make the wounded man comfortable. I felt a tug at my sleeve. Scales drew me away from the wagon.
I know him, I remember. I know who he is. I'll never forget a man's face. Only difference now, he ain't got that mustache he used to wear. The Powder River Kid, Bill Logan, that's who.
Ah?
Oh, ain't you got no savvy? The Powder River Kid. He's wanted in more territories than even the James boys. Oh, I've seen the posters. There's $2,000 reward for him, dead or alive. Well, what do you say? Make pretty good sharings, huh? Muy dinero, 1,000 for you, 1,000 for me.
Of course, his wife and his friend might have something to say about that.
Then we shoot him. Sure, shoot him now, and then we take the kid on into Benton and collect.
I don't think he'll live that long, not without a doctor.
Who's talking about alive? Posters say live or dead. Come to think of it, we would be better off if we shot him. Might save a sack full of trouble. I seen him draw once. Down in Virginia City it was. He fanned 2 men down so quick he had his gun back in the holster before they hit the ground.
Mister,
Yes? Coming.
Hey, other feller's getting out of the wagon, too. We gonna kill him?
No.
He's still unconscious. Mister, you said you could take out the bullet. Maybe it'd do some good.
There's too much poison. He's got one chance, and that's to take him back to Helena.
This your wagon, Mr. Kendall?
No, ma'am, it's mine, George Scales.
Mr. Scales, I'll pay you $200 if you'll turn around. Take us back to Helena.
Well, now, that's a mighty attractive offer.
I don't know, Dory. Bill said...
I don't care what he said. Right now, he's dying.
No, I ain't. Mister, my wife offers you $200 to take me back to Helena. You let me rest a while in your wagon till I'm fit to ride the other way. I'll make it $300. That's fair. Yes, sir, that's a fair deal. I'll do that. Make yourself to home. The old buzzard's my paw. If he talks at you too much, just beller good and loud. Go to sleep, you old buzzard. You ride in here with me, Dory. Jack, stay on your horse.
Sure, Bill. Just take it easy.
All right, boys, let's vamoose. Yeah, be getting some rain by and by.
Yes. Might be an idea to camp pretty soon.
Bet the Powder River Kid thinks so. This trail ain't the softest. Hey, how long you figure till he hangs up his hat?
I don't know, but I wouldn't worry about it.
I ain't worrying. But I've been doing some thinking. How come you suppose he don't want to go back to Helena?
Somebody's after him, I imagine.
That's my guess. And if somebody's a U.S. Marshal and that marshal finds him before the kid dies, you figure maybe we'll have to cut another share on the reward?
A fine legal point.
Well, I ain't gonna worry. Dark coming on. There's a likely looking clearing up the road. Yeah, I gotta feed the old buzzard. Hiya! Hiya! Yep! Fire!
After the supper, I walked away from the camp to a rise overlooking the Missouri. There were flashes of lightning in the east, and you could see the outline of heavy black clouds, but there hadn't been any rain yet. I stood for about 10 minutes smoking my pipe. Then I heard steps behind me.
Scales said you came up this way.
How's your husband?
Oh, I think the fever's worse. Will he make it?
I'm not a doctor.
You don't have to be.
You should have gone back to Helena.
He couldn't. He was afraid to. Scales knows who he is, doesn't he? You know.
Yes.
There's been a marshal trailing us for 6 months. He caught up with Bill and Helena. My brother Jack helped him get away, and we hid out in town for 3 days.
Why didn't you get a doctor?
Oh, he wouldn't let us. There's a reward. Bill was afraid a doctor'd try and collect. Just like your friend wants to.
He is pretty obvious, isn't he?
Oh, man's luck runs out. Coyotes started snapping for the leavings. Me and Bill was on our way to Benton before the marshal caught up with him. We figured on going back east.
Were you and your brother both working with Logan?
No. And Bill hasn't done anything wrong since we was married. Mr. Kendall, I'll tell you a straight thing. I haven't been what a man like you'd call a decent woman. Most of my life, I've been a wild one. But not since Bill.
I wish I could help Mrs. Logan.
I really come to ask you to... I saw it done once before with a man's leg that got like Bill's arm. They cut it off.
Yes, I had thought of that. It's too late. The poison's in his shoulder. It wouldn't do any good. I'm sorry.
A preacher out in Utah married us. He'd never heard of the Powder River Kid. He thought we was nice folks. Well, I better get back to the camp.
I went with her. Jack was with Logan in the wagon. Scales' father was sitting on his haunches by the campfire, sucking on a piece of root candy and whittling a sliver of wood. He rocked back and forth, humming to himself. Scales leaned against a tree, ruminating on a piece of tobacco. He beckoned to me.
What'd she want?
She wanted me to cut off his arm.
That's a woman for you. You aim to do it?
No, wouldn't do any good. Probably kill him.
You sure wouldn't think he was a gunslinger, would you? Not now, you wouldn't. Sick and whimpering like a dying pup.
You think we could go on tonight?
Not on this trail. With the rains coming, no, sir. Besides, the old buzzard don't like traveling in the dark. Yeah, I hope he don't keep that up all night. None of us will get any shut-eye.
Now lie back. Lie back, honey. It'll be better.
Anything I can do, Jack?
Now, Bill, it's all
No, he's sick to the head right now. Don't even know Dory.
Honey, don't.
Dory says you know about us. We figured so. I think you're all right, Kendall. My sister does, too. But I want to tell you not to start thinking about that reward.
A few minutes later, it began to rain and continued intermittently all through the night. But the dawn was clear and bright. It took the combined efforts of oxen, horses, and men to take the wagon back onto the trail. The wheels had sunk nearly hub-deep in mud. But as the sun rose, we were on our way northward again. Bill Logan was no longer delirious, but in the grayness of his face, I knew that he didn't have long to live. It was during the early afternoon that his wife called out to me.
Mr. Kendall,
Yes?
will you come back a minute?
All right.
Maybe he's dead, huh?
Maybe.
He wants to talk to you.
Sorry, go on up with that bullwhacker. What I got to say is private.
Make him stay quiet.
Come on over closer, will you? Is the old man asleep?
Yes.
Now, listen, I'm finished. I ain't a doctor. Nothing gonna help me now. I feel it. Now, I never asked a favor. No man in my life. I'm asking one now.
What is it?
There's a reward for me. It ain't much, only 2,000, but it means something for Dory. I ain't gonna pay no reward for a man that's died natural like. Or if they do like us not, go to that Marshall fella for starting me off. I want you to fix it so Dory can get it.
Well, how?
You fill me full of lead.
Shoot you?
Yeah, shoot me.
No.
I trust you. You see, I trust you to give the money to Dory.
Oh, you're out of your head.
No, mister. I ain't last night, but not now. It's the best I can do for her. She's a good woman. Now let me give her something so she don't have to go back to what she was.
I can't kill you.
You got a right to. Look, I'm wanted, Kendall. I've done more killings than I can remember. It ain't a wrong thing for you to do. You could say I was trying to escape.
No, I can't.
If not draw on you.
It doesn't make any difference. We both know you wouldn't shoot. I'm sorry. I don't think he felt very much pain after that. He just drank Scales' whiskey and talked quietly to his wife. He died just before the sun went down.
Well, I guess he's dead now.
I think so.
You figure she'll want to take him into Benton or bury him out here?
I don't know.
Sure does seem a shame and a sin to see that reward go up in smoke.
Perhaps it doesn't have to.
How do you mean? How come?
I could ride back to Helena. Wouldn't take more than a few hours.
What good did that do?
Well, I'd take him back with me.
Yeah?
All you have to do is to see that they don't try to stop me.
Listen, boy, for $1,000, nobody's going to stop you. The old buzzard's still spry enough to hold a gun. I just have to tell him who to point it at is all. Hey, How do I know you'll come back?
Well, I imagine you'll just have to take my word for it.
Ain't never trusted a newspaper feller yet, but I guess there ain't no choice.
I give you my word of honor. I'll come back.
All right. Oh, Curry's in there, too. Why, ain't gonna be nothing to it. All right, Curry, you keep your hands high. Both if you get over to the other side of the wagon. The Powder River Kid's going back to Helena.
Scales shouted instructions to his father, who disarmed the dead man and Curry, then held a gun steady, a smile on his old face, head nodding approvingly. I took Logan's body out of the wagon and tied it onto a horse. Just before I rode away, I saw Mrs. Logan watching me, crying, a soundless, terrible cry. I must have traveled 10 miles in the night before I found the courage to do what I had to do. I led the horses off the road, tethered them, and took down Logan's body. He looked peaceful. Forgive me, Logan. I delivered the body to the marshal in Helena and collected $2,000 reward for the capture and killing of Bill Logan, alias the Powder River Kid. Then I took the horses and rode back to where I'd left the wagon.
Did you get it, boy? Did you get the money?
I got it.
One of these days, I'm going to catch up with you, mister.
Get on your horse. You too, Mrs. Logan. Go on.
One of these days.
That was fine, boy. Fine. Now, come on. Let's divvy up.
Afraid not, Mr. Scales. I've got some bad news for you. You are getting nothing.
What?
Exactly. Drop your gun, or the old buzzard's going to lose his son.
Oh. I might have known. Just like the other one. A stinking, no good, low down
Goodbye,
newspaper
Mr. Scales. It's been a most unpleasant association. I took Logan's horse and caught up with Mrs. Logan and her brother a little further along the Mullen Road. I gave her the $2,000, and together we rode on into Fort Benton, Montana Territory.
Frontier Gentleman was written, produced, and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Daner as J.B. Kendall. Featured in the cast were Joe Kearns, Paula Winslow, Larry Dobkin, Barney Phillips, and Robert Roudier. Music was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Join us again next week for another report from the Frontier Gentleman. John Wall speaking. This is the CBS Radio Network.